Here's how we're going to do this. I got a framework that we're going to follow. We're going to talk about the problems and the contrasting possibilities when it comes to heavy lifting for guys over 40. And then we're going to go into the 4 principles that are associated with maximizing your results in this area. I'm going to give you guys 4 production strategies so that you can implement it into your lifting in your life. And I'm going to give you 4 paths, 4 call to actions, 4 challenges, if you will, with resources that are going to help you lift heavy, build muscle, stay strong, stay vibrant, stay vital, stay explosive in your old age, fellas, or throughout your life. Cool. So problem number 1 when it comes to lifting heavy 5x5 for guys over 40 is that if we don't do this, if we fail to do this, we do what most guys do, we're going to end up with accelerated type 2 muscle fiber loss. Right? So as men age, we lose our explosive capacity, right? And the muscles the muscle fiber that begins to diminish as we get older is the type 2 muscle fiber. And that's our ability to like move quickly, to explode, to do things in a fast and powerful way. And so traditional high rep bodybuilding work doesn't sufficiently recruit these muscle fibers, but lifting heavy 3 to 5 reps by maximizing neuromuscular activation allows you to maintain these fast twitch muscle fibers. And here's the deal. I know we're not talking to 80-year-olds. We're not talking to 90-year-olds. We're talking to guys that are in their 30s, 40s, and 50s. But one of the things that starts to happen when these muscle fibers start to diminish is people fall, right? So one of the main reasons why a lot of old people struggle is because, well, they don't have that type 2 muscle fiber. And so if they lose their balance, they can't catch themselves because they're slow. You don't want to be old and slow. And so by lifting 5x5, you will be fast and explosive. So that's problem number 1, possibility. When you lift this way, you will preserve and you can even rebuild fast twitch muscle power, right? Instead of losing type 2 muscle fibers, a man who consistently lifts heavy, 5s, triples, and singles, maintains and even rebuilds his explosive strength, power, and muscle density, allowing him to stay strong, athletic, and functionally capable well into his old age. So this is a little bit of a different spin because most guys are thinking only in terms of aesthetics. But let me tell you this, in terms of aesthetics, as long as you keep your body fat low and you're building muscle, you're going to look amazing. You don't have to do muscle pump workouts that make you slow. You can still lift heavy if you follow the principles I'm going to tell you here today. Boom. Problem number 2, age-related decline in neural drive and motor unit recruitment. So strength loss after 40 isn't just about muscle. And I think I want to hit that nail on the head a bunch of times for you guys. It's not just about muscle. It's about the nervous system. It's declining efficiency at recruiting muscle units, motor units, right? Lifting it with high reps, 10, 15, 20 reps, they're not going to recruit the muscle motor units the way it would if you lift heavy or you did 1 set to failure type training. 1 set to failure type training is good, but one of the downsides to that is that it burns out your nervous system very quickly. It can absolutely burn out your nervous system. With 5x5 training, the way I'm going to teach you guys right now, you will still feel fresh and explosive while recruiting all that neural drive. You're like turning on the electricity in your body. And when you turn on that electricity in your body, it's coming from your brain. It's coming from your spinal cord. It's coming from your nervous system. And when we can do that, it turns on the nervous system throughout the entire body. So you can think better. You'll think sharper. You'll be quick-witted. Right? You'll be more charismatic by lifting heavy, right? Does that sound right? Or is that just bro science? Elliott's making shit up, right? So lifting in the low rep range, high intensity rep range, 3 to 5s, triples, and singles forces the nervous system to stay highly engaged, preventing the neural decay that leads to weakness and loss of coordination, right? On the other flip side, the possibility, optimize neural efficiency and peak motor unit recruitment. When you're lifting heavy, when you're lifting 5x5, and when I say 5x5, that's an umbrella term for lifting heavy with lower volume, rather than experiencing neural slowdown that comes with age. Heavy lifting keeps the nervous system firing at high efficiency, improving reaction time, coordination, and strength output, ensuring that you remain powerful and capable rather than weak and uncoordinated. That's one of the things I started to notice after 40. My coordination started to decline, like sprint ability, jump ability, the ability to like just move quickly. I got 2 dogs. I got 2 Malinois, and they're crazy. And sometimes I got to keep up with them when I'm walking them and stuff. And they're crossing path and they're doing nutty things that I got to correct on them. If I'm not sharp, they could trip me. And I noticed that I'm not as quick to like land on my feet as I was when I was in my 30s. But now that I'm lifting I went back to the roots and I'm lifting with 5x5, man, I'm so much sharper. When they drag me down the staircase, because in the backyard, I take them out and have them on the leash. Sometimes they pull. I like to keep them on their tight leash. I keep them close, but every once in a while they'll see like a duck or something. They'll see a bird and they want to take off. When they do that, I now have the capacity to run down the stairs very quickly. Pop, 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 pop. Right? I could just pop my knees. I couldn't do that. I could just drive my knees up. Boom, 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 boom. I couldn't do that a year ago because, of course, I was way overweight. I was out of shape and I wasn't lifting heavy the way I am today. Problem number 3. Loss of bone density and structural integrity. So we know about osteopenia, osteoporosis. They become real threats as men age. Your bones will become hollow. Your bones become weak if you don't put that axial loading on your body. If you're not putting heavy weights on your bones, that's actually, there is a thing such as bone growth. Bone growth. And bone growth is a result of putting pressure on the bone. Same thing with tendons. Tendons and ligaments can grow, but they only grow under the pressure of heavy weight. Like it needs the pressure of something really pressing down on it, like heavy weight resting on it in order for it to start creating more cells. More bone cells, more tendon cells. And our bones and our tendons become more and more important as we age. So moderate weights will help, but only near maximal loads, 80 to 90%, like those in 5x5 triples and singles, create the necessary bone loading stress to trigger the greatest increase in bone mineral density, tendon stiffness, and joint resilience, which are key to avoiding fractures and joint degeneration. Amazing. That's what heavy lifting does, fellas. Don't shy away from heavy lifting. What is the possibility? Stronger bones, joints, and connective tissue. Instead of brittle bones and weak joints and constant progressive overload of heavy lifting, which increases bone density, reinforces tendon and ligaments, and bulletproofs the skeletal structure, reducing injury and keeping you physically resilient for decades. Right? Only possible. It's not possible if you do what most guys do, which is, pansy weights at the gym, pussyfooting around, playing with the muscle pump shit, instead of laying some heavy weights on the bones. Right? And problem and possibility number 4. After this, I'll take a few questions. I'll check out the chat. And if you super chatted me, I will pause and I'll answer your question as it relates to the problem and possibilities before we go into the principles. So problem number 4, metabolic slowdown and hormone deregulation. Perfect timing because we got Dr. Farhan coming at 1:30. Just a reminder, he's going to be talking about hormone regulation, increasing testosterone. But after 40, it's sort of natural. The metabolism slows down due to what? Lower muscle mass and declining anabolic hormones. High rep, moderate weight training burns calories, right? I'm not going to mince any words. You will burn more calories. You will get shredded faster because it's kind of like cardio when you're doing high reps and moderate weights, but it doesn't maximize hormonal output the same way. So it kind of like cancels out the benefits. Heavy, low rep lifting, 5x5 threes and singles, triggers the highest testosterone and growth hormone response because it places great systemic demand on the body. This translates into more muscle retention, less fat gain, and stronger metabolism over time. You want to keep that in mind. Okay? And then what is the possibility? Already started alluding to it. higher testosterone. Lifting heavy will increase testosterone. It will increase your metabolism, and it will help you have a leaner physique. Rather than suffering from the slow metabolism and hormonal decline of aging, heavy lifting keeps testosterone, GH, growth hormone, and IGF level high. This is insulin-like growth factor. Keeps those levels high, maintaining lean, muscular body. It ensures that you burn fat efficiently, leading to more energetic, powerful, and confident physique well past 40. Very cool. Cool, dude. So those are the problems and the possibilities. We're going to go into the 4 principles. I'm going to shut these down real quick before we go into them. Principle number 1, 5x5 for guys over 40. Strength after 40 is built with wisdom, not ego. Lift heavy, but lift smart, because longevity is the real goal. So we don't want to just go balls to the wall, busting blood out your nose, heavy lifting. There's a way to do it. We want to lift smart, but we want to lift heavy. Lift heavy, but lift smart. We want to show up the next day and the next day and the next day and the next year, because longevity becomes the real goal. I wish I thought about longevity when I was in my 20s and 30s, but I'm such a beast that I just never even considered it. I couldn't even see my life after 40. I didn't even think about my life after 40. I don't know about you guys, but it seems like now I think back and I'm like, man, if I would have preserved my joints a little bit longer, just not doing so much crazy shit that you see me doing in my YouTube videos, maybe backed off on a strongman a little bit, I wouldn't have the injuries I have. But now I have to lift smarter. And I think that's great. I think it's great to start lifting smarter even earlier. Principle number 2, perfect form. Boy, we're going to talk a lot about this. In fact, I'm holding a workshop. If you go to alphaschool.ai, you can sign up for my strength camp, my live strength camp. It's going to be here at the Strength Camp Ranch. And I'm going to be teaching you guys how to do this, because it's got to be hands-on. Perfect form is your insurance policy. Every rep must be controlled, every joint protected, because sloppy lifting steals years from your life, right? So if you want to learn how to lift perfect form, it's easy to watch videos and totally miss it. You need somebody to help you do it, right? And I'm not saying that so that I can sell my retreat, my strength camp retreat, although I am. You can go to alphaschool.ai and see the link, and you can join me there. But because as a trainer, as a personal trainer, I spent many years training people in the gym. I understood that, look, unless I'm there with a watchful eye and giving you feedback in real time, it's hard to really teach anybody how to lift with precision form. And that's going to be the biggest difference. Lifting smart, principle number 1, is concomitant with perfect form. You got to lift with perfect form. And a lot of guys, that you think you know your form is perfect. You think you know perfect form, but man, you really don't. And I'm not talking just to you guys here like, you're dummies. I'm saying it because very rarely has anybody actually took the time to learn or be taught how to lift with perfect form. Principle number 3, heavy training demands deep recovery. This is the biggest difference for guys that lift after 40 or before 40. It's not about what you do. It's about what you do in between what you do. Heavy training demands deep recovery. You got to respect your sleep. And I know one of the things that happens as guys get a little bit older, like this, we don't sleep as much. And I think that's because we don't move as much. I don't think it's a hormonal thing that just changes with age. I think it's because we don't do the things we did when we were younger. We don't get the same amount of sunshine. We don't get the same amount of fresh air, and we definitely aren't exerting ourselves the way we did when we were younger. But when you follow a routine like I'm going to show you here today, you're going to want to sleep. You're going to want to sleep. I lifted yesterday. I did a full body 5x5 training yesterday. This morning, today I got 8. I went to bed by 9:30. I woke up at 7, which is late for me. My wife was also kind of up last night. She was not feeling well, so that kind of took a few hours away from me. So 9, 10, 11, 12, 7, 8, 9, 10, almost, minus the hours that she was up. I got like 9 hours of sleep last night, 8, 9 hours of sleep, right? That's huge. But what we want to consider also is the way you fuel your body. You need more protein as you get older. This is science has shown you need more protein as you get older. Here's the key though. Here's the major thing that I want to talk to you guys about. You got to cycle your intensity. You got to do basic cycling of your intensity. You can't lift 90% all year long. You got to cycle your intensity, and you got to increase you got to decrease your frequency. And that all comes from listening to your body. You could schedule these sort of undulating periodizations based on the percentage of your 1 rep max that you're lifting, which is helpful. But for me, being intuitive about it makes more sense. When I was doing Olympic lifting as a young man, I followed linear periodization that was given to me by my strength coach at the time. And I just could not keep up with the linear periodization, no matter how much I ate, no matter how much I slept. And a big part to do with it was because the writing a program is the beginning. Following the program requires that you pay attention to your body. And so you're going to have to back off when your body tells you back off. Don't be an ego lifter and think that because the program says you need to do 90% today, that you need to do 90%. You got to listen to your body. You got to back off the volume, right? The iron will break you before it builds you. You got to be careful. You got to respect. You got to respect the heavy weights. And principle number 4, progress is measured in decades, not days. Be patient. Embrace consistency and let time sculpt the strongest version of you. Fellas, I don't know about, I know there are a lot of you guys here that are my age and older. I don't know about you guys, but when I was younger, I never thought past 40. Now that I'm 40, I'm like thinking about 60. I'm thinking about 70, right? I'm thinking about 80, right? I think maybe a little bit of fear starts coming in. You know, I was just a nutty guy when I was younger, and I never thought I didn't have any consideration for my longevity at all. It was like, what can I do today to just beat the shit out of myself and maximize shit? Now I'm thinking in terms of years. I never thought in terms of years. I always thought in terms of like months and quarters, right? What am I going to do? What am I going to get? How am I going to get it now? It was always about now, which is cool. That's a very Zen way to be. Now, thinking about now. But these days, I'm thinking about a year from now. I'm thinking about 5 years from now. I'm thinking about 10 years from now. I'm thinking about 2-3 decades from now. Big difference. And I want you guys to like understand. If you're in your 30s, you're in your 20s. If you're younger, this is the way to think. This is the way to go about it. And so here we go. Now we're going to get into the good stuff, right? We were talking concept. Now let's talk production and path. This is really what we want to aim for. So production. Never exceed, fellas, 90% of your max in regular training. If you're a power lifter, you must. If you're a competitor, you must. But if you're a basic lifter like me and most of the guys that are here, there's no reason to go past 90%. If you go higher than 90%, heavier than 90%, one of the things you're going to notice is that your bar speed slows down. When you're lifting the way that I teach you to lift, you need high bar speed. Why? Once again, remember, we were talking about the type 2 muscle fibers, fast twitch muscle fibers. In order to really stimulate that fast twitch muscle fibers, we don't want to have those slow grinding reps that you do when you're trying to, max out when you're in high school. That ugly shit right there. I even train my kids. My kids are teenagers, and we go pretty heavy. I did doubles with my son the other day. He's 15 years old. But as soon as the bar speed starts slowing down, I tell him you got to back off the weight. And he's pretty ambitious sometimes. He's like, oh, but Dad, I can do more. And I'm like, no, don't do more, because he's got a lot of muscular imbalances from injuries that he had when he was a kid. He hurt his leg when he was very, very young. He broke his tibia. And so he's got a lot of muscular imbalances through his entire body. I think there's a reason why God gave me him, because it was like, hey, this is what you're built to do. Help young men, help people get strong, especially those of us who aren't perfect, right? And so when you lift, write this down, take notes. I'm actually going to give you guys this document when we're done. Let's see. Keep in mind, you want to keep your bar speed fast. Let's see. I'm going to share it with all of you guys. Let's see. Anyone with a link. I'm going to give it to you at the end. Stick around. I'll give you guys this link at the end. That way you can take a look at this and you'll have all these notes. So that you can refer to them later. Cool. So if the weight slows down significantly, it's too heavy. No grinding reps, fellas. Train with explosive intent. Stay with 3 to 5 rep range where strength is built without excessive strain. You don't need, even if you do singles. Sometimes I do singles. But when I do singles, they're crisp, they're fast. Through postural correction, mobility work, and activation exercises before lifting. I made a video about this yesterday. If you go on my YouTube channel, well, you're here now. Go and watch the video I made yesterday about activation exercises and corrective stretching. You want to use corrective stretching for posture and prehab drills to fire up the stabilizers. Big part of the reason why a lot of guys struggle when they lift heavy, meaning they start getting injuries, is because their joint integrity is off because they haven't activated the stabilizers. My left shoulder has stabilizer issues, and I'm working on getting it turned back on. Like my left shoulder just wants to hike up and round forward when I'm doing almost anything, right? Just faulty recruitment patterns, bad habits, and injuries. It was really from injuries. So I got to do a lot to stabilize that shoulder by turning on or activating the deep stabilizers of the scapula. You got to do these things. If you go into a heavy lift without corrective stretching and activation, good luck. And what guys will do is they'll blame the weights. They'll say, oh, don't lift heavy. Don't do that exercise. But there's no such thing as a bad exercise, and lifting heavy is great no matter what your age if you have joint integrity. This is another one of those things that I could talk till I'm blue in the face, and you could think you understand what's going on. But until you work with a coach, you work with a guy like me at my retreat, and you sign up at alphaschool.ai or work with me one-on-one, it's hard for me to teach you this stuff, right? Perfect form isn't about looking good. It's about keeping your joints healthy for the long game. Production strategy number 3, use full body workouts 3 times a week, keeping sessions abbreviated, 60 minutes max. I have different opinions about that. But as far as abbreviation is concerned, it has all to do with your recovery ability. My workout yesterday was 90 minutes. I'm going to make another video all about that. I want to talk about it. I think that's a myth that we shouldn't be training for longer than 45. A lot of these guys are like, oh, don't train longer than 40 minutes. I'm not so sure. These guys, you know who train longer than 40 minutes? These guys. These guys were in the gym for, 3-4 hours sometimes, right? I'll listen to these guys who are pre-steroid lifters who spend a lot more time in the gym. But it depends on your recoverability. We're going to talk about that as well. You need to adjust your volume and increase rest intervals to allow nervous system to recover. You need your sleep. And you got to prioritize protein and nutrition-rich, micronutrition-rich food, right? This is all about recoverability. I think number 4 is also. No. So recoverability is the biggest game. This is the biggest factor that's going to stop you from being able to really maximize your ability to lift heavy as an older lifter or middle-aged lifter. And then production strategy number 4, rebuild your foundation for at least 1 year. If you're just, and this is for these guys who are just coming back, if you're just coming back to lifting, or if you've been doing maybe bodybuilding for a long time, or you're doing functional training, or you've been doing, other things like triathlons. I see these guys in Florida, they love doing like long bike rides, all kinds of great exercises. But if you're getting back into lifting and you're wanting to lift heavy, you want to take at least a year to rebuild this foundation. Even if you've been lifting for longer, but you've been doing it in faulty ways, high rep ranges, a lot of volume, and you want to lower the volume and start using heavier weights, give yourself a year. Strength is at this stage is about strategic progression, not reckless ambition. Small, consistent increases all day long, right? That's how we want to do it here, fellas. Good. So let's talk about the 4 paths. I'm going to give you guys some resources. Then I'm going to give you this link. And if you're watching the recording, I'll put the link in the description. Otherwise, I'm going to put it in the chat here. So path number 1. Path number 1, to make sure that you're doing this right, keep watching my YouTube videos. There's a link here. As I continue to deliver my understanding and experience with heavy lifting in my second half of life. So this is where I'm going. I'm back on YouTube. I've been inconsistent for many years, but this is what I'm called to. This is what God's asked me to do. This is my calling in life. It's not everybody's calling. It's not a make-believe calling. It's not a troll goal or a FOMO, do what other guys do. Like literally every aspect of my life has shown me that I got to be on YouTube. So you guys can expect much more consistency from old Uncle E when it comes to uploading on YouTube in the second half of my life. As long as YouTube's around, I'm going to keep uploading. But keep watching my videos because you're going to be growing as I grow. You guys are here with me. We're doing this together, right? A lot of you guys started watching me when you were in your 20s, and now you're in your 40s. A lot of you guys watching me when you were in your teens, and now in your 30s, right? I've been here since 2007. So you have grown just as I have grown, right? A lot of people, they comment, they're like, wow, time goes on. Time just goes. So people haven't seen me since 2013, maybe saw a video and haven't seen me again until now. And like, wow, old Uncle Yo's getting old. That's why I call myself old Uncle Yo. I've been around since the beginning, yo. And as I learn, as I evolve, as I continue on this journey and I have to adjust things, I'm going to teach you what I know. So be a fan, sign up, subscribe, hit the notification button, be here. Path number 2, study books written prior to the 1970s when steroids became the norm. Older authors like Reg Park, Bill Pearl, Bart Starr, and vintage bodybuilding books are best. So this is just a shout out to one of my favorite websites for where you can see old school bodybuilding books. You can tell it's such an old looking workout, such an old looking website. Bill Hinburn's world famous super strength training. This is not a plug where I earn money, but if you look, let's see, where are some of the books? It's just such an old weird website. Progressive Resistance, the Jowett Institute. This is like from the 1920s. All right, I have this course. Anything by Brooks Kubrick, he's great. I follow a lot of his suggestions in his Gray Hair, Black Iron book. I mean, it's all here. It's all here, like he says. Legacy of Iron, Bigger, Stronger Connection, the Bent Press, Grip Course. These are all books. Look at these books. I've got a bunch of these. Let me show you. Here are some of my old books. Let me show you guys some of what I read real quick. So I like these books. I don't buy too many new books from new guys. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but I like to get it straight from the source. It's like the difference between like reading the Bible versus reading like T.D. Jakes, right? Y'all know T.D. Jakes, or reading Joel Osteen. It's like, do I read the Bible or do I read Joel Osteen's book? I'm going to go to the source, right? And so we got books like Physical Development, Arthur Saxon. I mean, this was written in the 1800s. And these guys had great looking bodies. Look at that, right? Arthur Saxon, Feats of Strength. I love this kind of stuff. Feats of Strength and Dexterity. Man, amazing books. These guys are doing all kinds of crazy workouts before they had all the machines, right? Eugene Sandow. Oh, I got another amazing book by Eugene Sandow. In fact, I might republish it. It's called, I forget what it's called. I gotta go find it again. Eugene Sandow. Then go check out, I'm just giving you guys resources because you know what? I'm sharing the wealth. Dinosaur Training is a good book. The same author. I got another book. It's in my kitchen though. I've been reading a lot. Gray Hair, Black Iron. And this guy, Bob Peoples, this man, he would deadlift. He would do rack pulls. With like 600 pounds well into his 70s every day. He lifted 700 pounds every single day. Think about how crazy that is. It wasn't off the floor, but he lifted it from about the knees. Boom. You know what he called it? He called it his health lift. And there's here's pictures of his kids lifting. Isn't that funny? Here he is lifting many, many hundreds of pounds. I'm trying to see if there's a picture of him when he's old doing his health lift. Let's see. Boom, 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 boom. Here's his old power rack. Look, made out of wood. Isn't that crazy? This is the stuff that I prefer to read, and it's totally up to you guys. I'm not telling you what to do, but better than watching too many YouTube videos with a lot of these young guys who I don't know, not knocking them, right? Because I'm a YouTuber also. A lot of these guys are they're on juice. They're lifting for different reasons. They're lifting to find girls, stuff like that. They're lifting for vanity. I've never been much of a vanity guy, but also because I've always kind of been a little bit chubby, as a strength guy. I've never really been shredded, trying to get as shredded as I can here in my second half of life. I don't even use the word shredded because it's not really shredded. I just want to get leaner and stay lean, like around 15% body fat for the rest of my life. I never want to put on all that weight again. But anyway, so I just encourage you, rather than, watching too many YouTube videos or just newfangled new age stuff, which is fine, which is great. I like that stuff too. There are some guys that I really enjoy. I would have you consider read some of the older stuff, older things, pre-steroid stuff. Path number 3, if you're going to experiment with classic 5x5 workouts, you got to adjust the frequency and volume. You can use ChatGPT to help you create these programs. Here's what old Uncle E did for you guys. I created a ChatGPT prompt, and I have a ChatGPT thread that if you click this link, I'm going to give you guys a link. You guys can go and see. It's very easy. Like, we were talking about buying ebooks and stuff like that before, which is fine, which is cool. But if you click that link, it's going to give you this workout right here. So advanced full body, heavy weight, low rep, 1950, 1960 style workout. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Look at that. And this is all inspired. I asked it to be inspired by Bill Pearl and Reg Park. So this workout is inspired by these guys. Right? You want to do the workouts that these guys inspired by these guys, which, I think are awesome. I know C-Bum is one of the newfangled, new age bodybuilders. He's got an amazing body. And I think he kind of like is a bit of a throwback to these guys here. But if you want it straight from the horse's mouth, the old guys, here's a workout for you, right? Full body 3 times a week, some additional notes on it. And then there's a beginner. I'd advise you to start with a beginner program if you're brand new to it. You got to work out A and you got to work out B. Really good. And there's some tips there. So when you get this access to this document, I'm going to give you here, click that link and it'll just take you here. Like, you don't need to ask me how to lift. Look, you can just, or what program to do. You can just follow this program here. I'll give you guys some parameters and some help. Well, you can figure it out yourself. And then path number 4, work with Elliott. Listen, this is a plug. This is a pitch. If you want to get a comprehensive assessment, every good program begins with an assessment. And look, of course, you could do it on your own. Everything I just gave you was DIY. But if you really want to maximize your results, you got to take a good look at where you are. That means you need to have a physiological load assessment, which is the very first thing I do with my clients. I do in order to determine your stressability. A lot of guys, you don't have the vitality to start lifting heavy right now. You might think you do, but that's why 6 weeks later, your joints are hurting you. You're tired. Now your dick doesn't work anymore, right? Your testosterone level's dropping. Motivation drops. You're wondering what's going on. I mean, it happens time and time again because your physiological load is too much. Very first thing I do when you come in and work with me is give you a comprehensive assessment, beginning with your stressability. Then we do a joint stability assessment where I will teach you how to determine whether or not you have muscular imbalances. We'll give you the right corrective stretches and exercises in order to support you in lifting heavy for life. Nutrition and lifestyle considerations, your metabolic typing assessment, making sure that you're eating the right amount of calories or the right amount of macros in the right ratio for you. Not what Elliott said in a video, not what is, the trending new diet, the new, don't eat any meat. Right? They used to tell us that in the 1980s. Don't eat any meat. Don't eat any meat. Eat all fruits and vegetables and grains and you'll build all your muscle. Now they're saying, don't eat any fruits. Don't eat any vegetables. Eat only meat. All meat. Just eat meat. Right? Back in the day, they told you, don't eat any fat. Don't eat any fat. Don't eat any fat. Now they're saying, only eat fat. Eat fat. I have a new client I started working with last week and I looked at and he's been struggling for years. Low energy, too much body fat, all kinds of other issues, in his life, depression and things of this nature. And I looked at his diet, it's like 80% fat. And he's doing what the gurus tell you to do, right? All this fat. And we did a metabolic typing assessment for him, and he needs to be eating at least 20% carbohydrates. Otherwise, he's not going to function the way he can. So we got him back on carbohydrates, eating mostly vegetables and sweet potatoes, brown rice, things of that nature. And I'm going to meet with him again this week. Over the course of the next few weeks, his vitality is going to go through the roof. And without even lifting, he's going to start building muscle. Why? Because of the right nutrition and lifestyle considerations. I'll give you there are a few different options. I could design a full program for you. give you training support and progression towards reaching your specific goal. I don't know about you guys, but I think the goal is be lean, be strong, and be jacked in your second half of life. Right? Does that sound good to you guys? Give me a thumbs up in the chat, or give me a heart, or give me an emoji somewhere if you guys think that being lean, staying strong, and building muscle is the way to go into your second half of life. Right? That's my goal. And so you can click this link here, and it will take you to an application. Only working with guys that are over 40. We got specific needs, unique needs. Fill this out, and we will hop on a call. You're not going to speak with one of my agents. You're not going to speak with anybody on my team. You're going to speak with me. And as a result, I'm very picky about who I'm actually going to get on a call with. So it's something like almost 90% of the applications, just they're rejected. And it's not because I don't love you. It's because I'm the only one taking these calls. I'm speaking to the guys. I got my team doing other things that support, but I want to meet the guys